Hey soldiers, Mark Cuban is telling you how he really feels about a certain aspect of the real estate sector. In fact, he thinks this type of real estate is, quote, the dumbest ever, unquote.
Yeah, metaverse, kind of like the term cyberspace in the 90s.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. It's cyberspace, And the worst part is people are buying real estate in these places. I mean, that's just the dumbest shit ever. The dumbest. Did I say it was dumb? No, that's not strong enough. Super meta, immaculately dumb. It's just like if, it's not even as good as a URL or, an ENS, because there's unlimited volumes that you can create. Now, after you create a community, not before, but after you create a community, then you can find places, depending on how that community works, that can have perceived value because of access or whatever, right? But beforehand, based off of a traditional real estate model, dumbest motherfucking shit ever.
All right, let's get into what type of real estate he's referring to, and then let's also have a quick discussion on the types of real estate that are actually things that you can invest in and potentially make a great deal of money. So, what is Mark Cuban talking about, though? Well, Mark Cuban, buying real estate in the metaverse is the dumbest idea ever. He put it a different way. Buying digital land in the metaverse may not be the best use of your money, according to billionaire investor Mark Cuban. Although Cuban is a well-documented cryptocurrency enthusiast, he called purchasing virtual real estate in the metaverse the dumbest ever in a recent interview on the Altcoin Daily YouTube channel. Now, Mark Cuban has been very high on and he is a proponent of different types of digital assets. Okay, so if you go back, some people were saying that he's contradicting himself. I don't think so at all. He's been very clear on the types of digital assets that he's been referring to that he's a proponent of. And digital real estate in the metaverse, that kind of thing, was never one of those things. And part of the reason for that is, as he says, utility or the lack thereof. Now, quote, it was great money for them, but that wasn't based off utility. And by them, he means the people that created this idea. It's not based off utility. Now, I'm sitting here looking at some land. And on this land, we have potatoes, squash, broccoli, peaches, some other trees growing. Okay, that's utility. That's what he means by that. Other people, miles away from here, have land that they have decided to put commercial property on, and people are going into those shops and they're doing different types of business, buying different types of things. Further away from here, we have office buildings, apartment buildings, all of these things, single family homes, town homes, all sitting on land. Utility. That's the utility, once you can get something out of that land. And land is scarce. They're not really making any more of it that we'll be able to use in the near term. Of course, the Hawaiian Islands have got their volcanic land being produced all the time. And if you're around in a million years, you can probably take advantage of that. But right now, they're not making any more land. So land is scarce. Think about where President Obama lives. He lives up in Martha's Vineyard. It's a very high dollar neighborhood, of course. And one of the reasons for that is because along that coastline, that type of land is scarce. Now, why in the world would anyone go outside the physical world to purchase real estate? Give you an example. Right now, this is a piece of digital real estate. My channel is a piece of digital real estate. I don't pay for this. YouTube is not charging me for this, but they are allowing me to, if this channel is ever monetized, I can make money off of this. There are plenty of people with YouTube channels that do that every day. And you can think of a YouTube channel as a form of digital real estate or digital space. But companies had tried to, there was this thing that came out with the metaverse. Companies had tried to start selling plots of land, I guess you would call it, inside the metaverse. In the physical world, real estate is valuable because land is scarce. However, that scarcity doesn't apply to the metaverse. In these virtual worlds, and Cuban is saying this, there's unlimited volumes that you can create. Absolutely. If, for whatever reason, YouTube, with the servers that they have set up now, if that came to capacity and there could be no more channels or no more videos added to YouTube, all Google would do is just add more space. Okay? They've got an unlimited capacity to do that. You cannot do that with real land. Last year, the Metaverse platforms experienced a virtual land rush as users collectively spent millions on digital real estate. I want to stop right here and let you know that when I'm using the term Metaverse, I'm using it as the generic term, not the Facebook term. Combined sales of 4 major platforms reached $501 million in 2021, according to Metametric Solutions. In some cases, virtual real estate went for as much as a physical house. Republic Realm, an investment firm that owns and develops virtual real estate, dropped a massive $4.3 million on a digital property located within the Sandbox, one of the largest metaverse platforms, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now get this, a virtual plot next to Snoop Dogg's digital mansion within the Sandbox was purchased for $450,000 by an NFT collector who goes by the name of P-Ape in 2021. However, the virtual housing bubble may have popped. And they go on to say how, it looks like the party is over. These guys created some sort of fascination, and people with money sometimes don't know how to spend it. And I would hope that the person who spent $450,000 on a virtual plot of land next to Snoop Dogg's digital plot of land, certainly hope they could afford to do that without hurting themselves, without, engaging in FOMO and thinking that this was going to be the next big thing. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they're not giving you a mortgage on digital land. The United States of America, the IRS, they're not going to recognize the tax advantages of a physical piece of real estate. They're not going to recognize that. The ones that come with a physical piece of real estate, they're not going to recognize that for a digital piece of real estate. These are the reasons why you buy real estate. What fool, and I'm sure there are plenty, is going to pay you rent to lease a portion of your digital real estate? Now, sure, I am sure they will find plenty. But is that a sustainable idea? So if you want to really get into researching real estate as an investment opportunity, because it is one of the asset classes, clearly, then what you need to do is understand that, yes, there are a bevy of tax benefits that come with real estate. And these advantages are not transferable or not present in a digital real estate scenario. All right, let's start out with deductions. Okay, let's say you own a piece of real property. Real property. Okay, that's a synonym for real estate. You own a piece of real property. You can take deductions for expenses that you incurred in association with that property if you're renting that property out. Now, of course, the IRS is not going to let you write off the new wood floors for your personal home under most circumstances. Sure, if you are living in a duplex or a fourplex and you're renting that out and you put wood floors in one of the units, then of course that's a different story. But your townhome that you live in, your single family home, no, we're talking about real estate that's owned as an investment. So you can deduct expenses that are incurred in association with your investment real estate. Now, you got to talk to your CPA. You got to organize your properties and your business as a business, okay? Because one of the detriments to real estate investing is it can be a big-time liability. Now, if you're not structured properly and you don't run your properties properly and it's icing outside and someone falls on your property, you could be stuck with that. And if you're not structured properly, that could hit your personal assets, okay? So you need to talk to an attorney and you need to talk to a CPA if you own or want to own investment real estate. Do it right the first time. Passive income and pass-through deductions, yet another form of tax advantage for you. And these tax advantages are extremely important in this day and age. Depreciation. You can actually get a tax advantage based on the depreciation over time of that property. 1031 exchange. We've talked about that on the channel before, where if you decide you want to sell your duplex and you want to buy a fourplex, okay, you want to have a higher occupancy potential, to make more money potentially, you can, under most circumstances, and again, you got to talk to your CPA, you can sell that duplex, and then the profit you make from that can be shielded from taxes if you put it toward the purchase of the fourplex, for example. It's called a like-kind exchange. All right, and those are just some of the tax advantages that you can realize if you own real property. Now, why is that important? We've been talking about that for the better part of a week now, about how the Inflation Reduction Act is going to have the IRS become a lot more assertive in tax collection. All right, so you've got to go out there and figure out how to legally and properly protect yourself based on what the IRS allows in the tax code. All right, now you want to hear something very interesting? I was trying to explain to someone what's going on, okay, and it was on my personal Facebook page. And we've done the video, Tulsi Gabbard, IRS targeting middle class is frightening. We did that video. And this individual came to the defense of the IRS, kind of, okay? And I want you to understand, this person is a great person. I like this guy a lot. He's a great friend of mine. But he's wrong here. He's often wrong, but he's still a good guy. He says, Tyrone, oh my God, really? The only people who should fear the IRS agents are tax cheats. Let me stop you right there. Fear the IRS. So he admits that we should fear an arm of our government. That's a little disturbing, but more and more people are starting to feel that way now that the IRS is going to be beefed up by 87,000 agents. And they put that job announcement out there that they've since taken down, saying that the IRS, if you wanted a job with them as an agent, you need to be willing to carry a firearm and be willing to use it with deadly force, okay? I don't even think police officers, does the FBI, do they have an announcement like that? I think you know that if you're an agent of the state and they arm you, I think you know as an adult that you may encounter a situation in which you might have to use that firearm. But for them to come out and just be so blatant about it, and remember, the IRS is a domestic organization. They are not traveling overseas to wage war with a foreign power. When they buy ammunition, you've got to presume that there is an American that may be on the opposite end of that at some point. So I had a problem with him saying in the first sentence that some people in America should fear the IRS. Okay, just a little pet peeve of mine. And then he goes on to say, I'm just saying, this is yet another paranoid trope scare tactic. It's not a scare tactic at all. I shared with him some data, told him that, listen, it is a fact that the poor are audited 5 times more than the wealthy, or than anybody else, basically. And the reason for that is because the poor in the middle class do not have the resources to hire top-notch tax attorney firms, top-notch CPAs. The poor in the middle class do not have that ability. They don't have that. They don't have enough resources to get that done. The IRS knows this. So they're going to be far more likely to take Joe Blow, the truck driver, take him to an audit than they would someone like Warren Buffett. Because Warren Buffett is going to fight them. And at the end of the day, when the IRS, when their accountants and actuaries sit down and say, you know what, Warren Buffett owes us, we think, $1 million. But we also think that it's going to cost us $5 million to fight him. Okay? So they go to Joe Blow. And Joe Blow did his taxes on TurboTax, right? And he forgot to carry the one and dot the I and, all that stuff. And, he was wrong. So isn't it amazing how the IRS, isn't it amazing how if you get it wrong, they'll write you and say, hey, you got it wrong. But they won't tell you up front how to do it so that you won't get audited. Okay. So my friend goes on. He says it's a scare tactic when in fact the data would prove otherwise. The data will prove that the poor actually have a reason. They have 5 times more of a reason to fear, as he said, the IRS than anybody else. He says some years ago, I owed on my taxes. It wasn't the boogeyman after me. I got on a payment plan and kept it moving. So now this individual is a very honest person, upstanding person. So he didn't cheat on his taxes. I know he didn't. He made a mistake. But in the beginning, he said the only people that need to fear the IRS are tax cheats. And then he goes on to say, well, I also got gigged and I got on a payment plan. Now, I'm not going to ask him the details of that payment plan, but I'm sure there was interest involved in it. Okay. So this is what we're talking about, people. All right. When we say that you need to go ahead and pay your taxes, but you also need to understand that tax code. If you're going to go out there and get interested in investment real estate, what you need to do is put together a competent team of individuals that includes a CPA who has experience in real estate and an attorney who has experience in real estate investing. Put your team together so that you can be successful. Always do your due diligence, guys. Okay, guys, so we talked about one asset class in this video, real estate. Precious metals is another, gold in specific. Rick Rule, the natural resource investor par excellence, is going to talk to you about what he's noticed in the gold market here lately. If you have an interest, go ahead and check that video out. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. You've got to have a diversified basket of assets that optimally you never sell. Just let them keep on accumulating. Okay, guys? I'll talk to you soon.